Today we're taking a look at these college basketball matches, which are happening on Wednesday, March 8, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and make sure to watch it till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Also check out our Patreon if you want to access our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link in description and comments section below. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comments section below. St. Bonaventure vs Davidson. Davidson not only won the regular season matchup with the Bonnies, but they are clearly playing better basketball heading into the second round matchup. Davidson has gone 3-1 at TS in its last 4 games of the season, including covering the 5.5 spread in the game against St. Bonaventure. In the Wildcats' last 6 wins, they have covered the spread in 5 of those games. The Bonnies have struggled offensively all season but have done a better than average job at shooting the 3-ball. In the first matchup, Davidson held them to just 36% from long range. St. Bonaventure has gone just 1-4 at TS in the last 7 games. Additionally, St. Bonaventure is just 2-10 at TS in the last 12 games against Davidson. Limping to the finish line, I don't expect the Bonnies to bounce back in this spot. Take Davidson minus 3.5 points. The February 22nd matchup between St. Bonaventure and Davidson saw 135 points scored, which came in under the pregame mark of 136.5 points. Per oddsark, it was the 4th time in the last 6 meetings between these two that ended under the total. Furthermore, the under is 5-1 in the Wildcats' last 6 games overall. Now, one key piece of information here is that neither team plays particularly quickly. The Bonnies come into this one ranked 271st in tempo, 66.0 possessions per 40 minutes, while the Wildcats are 292nd, 65.5. Considering neither offense is shooting the lights out, both sub 45.0% FG%, I think we're in for a lower scoring affair. Take the under 136.5 points. Wake Forest vs Syracuse. Both teams are good on the offensive end, but have struggled at stopping opposing teams from putting points on the board. Wake Forest has had issues stopping opposing teams from having their way with things, a major reason that the team has dropped 8 of their last 12 games. The Demon Deacons have not had much in the way of success against the Orange, and we saw that happen again Saturday. Both teams need wins to try and get their way into the NCAA tournament, but someone sees their season end here. Wake Forest's defense lets them down again, as Syracuse gets another win over the Demon Deacons to reach the quarterfinals. Our team pick is Syracuse plus 2 points. Both of these squads have been ramping up their point totals as the season has gone on. Syracuse has seen the over hit in 13 of their last 19 games, while Wake Forest has seen it in 15 of their last 20, per oddshark. The over is 5-3-1 over the last 9 games between the Orange and the Demon Deacons. For what it's worth, both of these teams are also on streaks of high-scoring affairs on Wednesdays, with Wake Forest seeing the over hit in 5 of their last 6 Wednesday games, and Syracuse having the total go over in 6 of their last 7 on Wednesday. Both teams have higher rated offenses compared to their defenses, and their pace of play is the final key factor here. The Demon Deacons are ranked 64th in Pomeroy's adjusted tempo, out of 363 teams, which lands them in the 82nd percentile. Basically, that means that they average more possessions per game than 82% of college basketball teams, which naturally results in more scoring opportunities. Trends, pace, and statistical profiles all point to a point total exceeding 154 in this game. Fresno State vs Colorado State. The Rams have won 3 of their last 5 games. They don't have a high-scoring offense, but they're playing well at the moment, scoring 74 points per game in their last 3 games, while making over 51% of their shots. They also took advantage of their opportunities at the charity stripe, making 78% of their free throws during that span. They do a good job rebounding the ball and they're aggressive on the offensive glass, which will give them more scoring chances. They also do a good job protecting the ball and won't give the Bulldogs a lot of easy scoring opportunities. The Bulldogs usually play well defensively, but they struggled in recent games, giving up 74 points or more in 4 straight road games, so expect them to have a hard time slowing down the Rams in this game. The Bulldogs have lost 5 of their last 7 games and 7 of their last road games. They have struggled offensively on the road, scoring less than 65 points per game. Their ball movement isn't very good on the road and they don't rebound the ball as well, so don't expect them to get a lot of extra scoring chances against the Rams. The Rams aren't great defensively, but they played better in recent games, holding their last 3 opponents under 73 points per game and won't have trouble keeping Fresno State's offense in check. Go with Colorado State to cover the spread. The first game between these teams went over while the last matchup went under, and the latter is the pick I am leaning toward in this game. This is despite the fact that Fresno State scored a season high in their last game. However, that game was at home and against a weak team. The Rams also scored a season high against a Division I team in their last game. Colorado State only gave up 57 points in each of their 2 wins against Fresno State this season. The Rams will play good D again, and while they will shoot pretty well, they will not put up a high total like their last matchup with the Bulldogs. The under is the pick for this first round MWC matchup in what will be a slower paced defensive game. Our total pick is under 134.5 points. Richmond vs George Mason. George Mason has won both games against Richmond this season, however, the 2 games were separated by a combined 6 points. The early matchup on December 31st saw the Patriots win 62-58, while they followed it up with a 62-60 effort on March 4th. So what gives in this one? Well, I'm going to ride with the Patriots to win again and cover the minus 1.0 point spread. As for this matchup, I simply feel that the Spiders don't have enough talent to keep pace with the Patriots. Aside from Tyler Burton, who is undoubtedly a beast, Richmond doesn't have a very threatening attack. They're 197th in adjusted offensive efficiency, scoring 104.7 points per 100 possessions. And in terms of shooting, the Spiders are hitting just 43.9% of their shots, which is 230th in the country. With how solid George Mason's defense is, I expect them to cruise to a win and a cover. The first 2 matchups between these teams saw scores in the low 120s, making the under 5-1 in the last 6 meetings. I think we're in for another low-scoring affair on Wednesday, so I'll take the under. From a statistical standpoint, it's worth noting that each of these teams plays pretty slowly. George Mason comes in with the 221st quickest defense, using just 66.7 possessions per 40 minutes. Richmond, on the other hand, is 286th with 65.6 possessions per 40 minutes. Furthermore, as I was alluding to above, defense is the strength of this George Mason team. They're ranked 93rd in defensive efficiency, limiting opponents to 101.6 points per 100 possessions. As for defensive shooting, the opposition is cashing just 42.2% of their field goals against the Patriots, 74th. All things considered, I see this game staying under the total. Georgia Tech vs Pittsburgh. Georgia Tech is heating up at the perfect time of year. Not only are they on a 3-game winning streak, but they're 8-1 ATS in their last 9 games. They're also on a 5-0 run ATS when playing teams with winning records. Conversely, Pittsburgh is 0-4-1 ATS in their last 5 games played at neutral sites. Looking at their direct matchup history, the Yellow Jackets have covered the spread in 8 of their last 10 games against the Panthers. Georgia Tech has some advantages as well, including turnover rate, personal foul rate, and most importantly, 3-point defense. Pittsburgh attempts the 19th most threes per game, 26.2, while the Yellow Jackets hold opponents to 30.8% shooting from deep, ranked 28th. I believe those stylistic advantages will carry Georgia Tech to another cover against the Panthers. These 2 teams have averaged 137.5 combined points in the 2 times they played each other this season. The total has gone under in 3 of their last 4 games against each other. The pace of play of both teams also plays a factor. Pittsburgh is ranked 186th in Pomeroy's adjusted tempo out of 363 teams, which places them in the 49th percentile, while Georgia Tech is in the 46th percentile. Their lower tempo means that they average fewer possessions per game, which gives them fewer scoring opportunities. Additionally, the Yellow Jackets have seen the total go under in 5 of their last 6 games at neutral sites. We saw the under hit in 2 of the 3 games from round 1, and I'm betting on the defensive intensity cranking up in the postseason. Our total pick is under 143.5 points. Butler vs St. John's. These 2 teams met twice this season, with both teams winning at home. St. John's beat Butler at home 77-61 on January 10th, and then Butler prevailed at home on February 7th, 68-66. This is technically a neutral site game, but it really is a home game for St. John's as they are in their backyard at MSG, an arena that is essentially a home away from home. The home court edge really came into play when St. John's won easily earlier this season against Butler. The other advantage is that Butler is banged up and St. John's is just flat out playing better right now. Take St. John's to cover. These offenses have been struggling to hit this number as of late, with the Bulldogs scoring 58.6 points in their last 5 games, while the Red Storm averaging 81.5 points in their previous 4 games. Both programs have been doing well, according to KenPom's adjusted defensive rating this season, as Butler is 55th in the entire sport with a 98.6 adjusted defensive rating, while the Red Storm are 71st with a 100.1 defensive rating. The under is 10-3-1 in the Red Storm last 14 games, as well as being 16-5-1 in the previous 22 Bulldogs games, so go with under 144 points here. Colorado vs. Washington. When these teams met back on January 19, Washington won straight up by 3, 75-72, and won ATS as +9 underdogs on the road. In their first matchup back at the beginning of December, the Huskies won at home by 10, 73-63, winning ATS as +1 underdogs. In those games, Washington shot a combined 52% overall. They also held Colorado to 22.2% shooting from behind the three-point arc. Washington holds the edge in experience, with 3 seniors in their starting lineup compared to the 2 that Colorado has on their entire roster. They have also gone 2-0 ATS at neutral sites this season. Washington is also scoring 5.2 points more per game over their last 5 and shooting much better than the Buffaloes in that stretch. The Huskies have gone 4-1 straight up against Colorado in their last 5 meetings and have matched that mark. ATS take the Huskies +4 points. As much as these teams are considering more of higher tempo sides, it's hard to look for a ton of points when Colorado's offense is involved. KenPom ranks the Buffaloes 88th in their tempo ratings, but 139th in adjusted offense. The Huskies rank 73rd in tempo and 171st in offense. So, these teams will certainly get up and down the court, but they won't score at the same fevered pitch. Colorado has not scored more than 69 points over their last 5 games and put up just 56 versus number 4 UCLA. The under is 5-1 in their last 6 games overall. Washington has scored under 70 points 4 times in their last 6 games, including 51 versus Washington State. Their last meeting between these teams went over by just 5 points, but back in December in the first matchup they landed under by 6, and the meeting before that stayed under the total by 18 points. Take the under 135 points. Air Force vs. UNLV. UNLV has won 2 of their last 3 games, while Air Force has lost 3 in a row. In the game before their last one, the Falcons lost to UNLV 54-53, where both teams struggled to shoot the pill. Both teams have not shot well in the last 2 games, and neither will shoot well in this game. The Falcons did cover in the loss to the Rebels, but they will not in this game. Both teams will play good D, but Harkless will be the key, as he has averaged 22.3 ppg in the last 3 games. His scoring will be key in a low-scoring affair, and the Rebels will get the W and cover and move on in the conference tournament. Take UNLV -6.5 points. The total when these teams met at the end of the season went well under, and that is the pick in this game as well. When these teams met late they only totaled 107 points, and both teams have struggled to shoot the pill in the last 2 games. Not only did the total go under for this season's lone meeting, but both matchups last season went under. Air Force is one of the lower scoring teams in the nation that has failed to shoot over 40% from the floor in each of their last 2 games. This first round matchup should see more points than the recent meeting between the 2, but not much, so that means the under is the pick. Take the under 134.5 points.